It is an impressive rural town situated in the southern Darling Downs, 130 km southwest of Brisbane, known as the Rose and Rodeo City. It's a place rich in heritage and historic buildings, and it is a place that loves its racing. We do too. Hello from Warwick, Queensland, for stop number 4 of the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship, returning from our mid-season break and ready and excited for a very big day of racing. Emma Francesco here with you, and heading into this round, well, Bryan Staring shook things up last time. He is leading Cru Halliday by 1 point, and then Mike Jones sitting in third position. There are only 9 points separating that top 3. It is all about to change though, as we head to a track that makes for some fantastic racing indeed, and one man who absolutely loves riding around here. He knows plenty about it. It's over to our expert, Steve Martin.
It's always good to come to Morgan Park. It's a place that I really love. I mean, the racing is sensational, and round 4 here this weekend is going to be one that you do not want to miss. The track itself is just about 3 kilometres long. It always creates exciting racing. 12 corners around here, and really there's a lot of spots that you want to watch for action. Turn 1 off the start line is definitely going to be critical for the riders to get into there first. It's really hard to overtake here, especially through this right-hander, the 89 km/h Kawasaki turn, and then it's a blind left-hander through Motul curve. It's pretty much single file through there, and it's not until turn 4 where the riders will get their next opportunity for an overtake. Really heavy braking into there. Hard drive out through turn 5, single file, but then another opportunity up the inside. Tricky to get that Yamaha corner right. We've seen it go wrong there for so many riders in the past. Left onto the back straight here. It's not really a straight because there's a big curve in the middle, 225 km/h. Expect to see some handlebar banging action through that. Into Pirelli on the right-hand side. Front end nice and loose through there too. You've got to keep the flow through Suzuki and keep that flow going all the way up into turns 11 and 12. It's a nice little flick through there, and if you get it right, you can get onto that front straight with a good drive. You're going to need it to head over that line and get that top speed of 245 km/h. And this is one of the hardest tracks we come to get a clean lap, Emma, but if you want to be up near the front, that's what you're going to have to do.
Thank you very much, Steve. And to tell you what, a guy that did the perfect lap yesterday was Mad Mike Jones from the Desmo Sport Ducati team. He got the fastest lap ever around this circuit, and he will be the one sitting on pole position, in the pole position award there too. So that top 3 is Mike Jones, Cru Halliday from the Yamaha racing team, and Wayne Maxwell starting on the grid in third position. The first race had a little bit of everything, plenty of battles. It was epic, that is one thing for sure. And to check the highlights, it is over to our very own Phil Harlem.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, Mike Jones got a great start away from pole position, but the man that got a cracking start from the second row of the grid was last year's victor here at Morgan Park, Troy Herfoss, on bike number 1, the reigning champion. Slotted himself up into second position as they took the run through Motul corner and around through turn 3 for the first time. Right behind him was Cru Halliday, the man that was 1 point off the championship lead, and also our championship leader Bryan Staring was well placed early on the BC Performance Kawasaki. It wasn't long though until Herfoss made his presence felt and took the lead from Mike Jones as they made the run down towards the bottom end of the circuit, but Jones was very swiftly back into the lead on the Desmo Sport Ducati 1299 final edition, with Cru Halliday continuing to be strongly placed, and right behind him was his teammate Daniel Falzon. Not for long though, because Falzon crashed out at turn 6 early on in the race, losing the front end, and that was the end of the day for Daniel Falzon on board bike number 25 and left the team with a little bit of work to do. Wayne Maxwell, who also got a very tardy start, was certainly starting to make his way through the field, and wasn't it long and he was back onto the tail of Cru Halliday's machine. And then this move from Wayne Maxwell up the inside at turn 11, the YMI corner, hampered Troy Herfoss's drive, and Cru Halliday was also able to make his way through and eventually work his way up onto the ducktail. And then Bryan Staring managed to find his way past Troy Herfoss as well, down into Kawasaki corner turn 1, and he also was very soon to join the battle for second place on the podium between Wayne Maxwell and Cru Halliday, until this moment at turn 4. Lost the front end, very similar incident to Daniel Falzon's, and that was the end of Bryan Staring's challenge for the podium. Cru Halliday had a last lap lunge on Wayne Maxwell into turn 6. Couldn't quite get the job done, and Wayne Maxwell was able to pilot the Suzuki X-Star Australia GSXR 1000 RR to second place. Cru Halliday, a very close third, takes good points and the championship lead as they came across the line, but no one could get near Mad Mike Jones, who took the win and was almost inch perfect every single lap of the race, was consistent, and his lap times only differed by about 0.6 or 0.7 of a second over the entire 16-lap race distance. Mike Jones took the win from Wayne Maxwell and Cru Halliday, and as we said, Cru Halliday now assumes the championship lead. Back to you, Em.
Thank you very much, Phil, and congratulations to Mike Jones getting his first win for the 2019 season. Now, we've heard all about this track. One thing that plays a major part in the racing and the battles is tyres, and our very own Steve Martin has all the goss.
Thanks, Em. It's not only going to be the riders and the teams battling it out there on the track this weekend. Both Pirelli and Dunlop have brought new compounds to the party. We know that the Dunlop has been a stable tyre that can work its way towards the front later in the race. We've seen Bryan Staring do that all season long. The Pirelli, on the other hand, it's fast off the blocks. Well, this weekend, both of the manufacturers have bought a new tyre. The Dunlop is softer. Of course, they're aiming to get off the blocks quicker than they have in the past. Pirelli, on the other hand, they're looking for more endurance, so their tyre seems to be a little bit more stable. So in theory, it could be all mixed up this weekend. We could see a Dunlop rider leading on the first lap with a Pirelli rider coming through the pack.
Well, we've got a very big day of racing ahead of us. Sit back, relax and enjoy. YMI Supersport 300, race number 3. Motorsports TV Supersport. Tom DeParis was the one winning that first race. He is the one leading the championship. It is their race number 2. And of course, the final race. The battle is on for Kawasaki Superbike. It is going to be a huge day of racing here from Morgan Park Raceway. Stay with us when we return. It is YMI Supersport 300. Stick with us. Welcome back to Morgan Park Raceway. It is stop number 4 for the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship, and we are just about to go racing for YMI Supersport 300. Always fantastic battles in this racing, and it's over to Phil Harlem and Steve Martin. Boys, I'm excited. I hope the sun comes out again soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. You're getting ready for the Supersport 300. That'll warm you up very, very quickly, because Steve Martin, all year, in fact, for the last couple of years, this has been one of the most exciting classes. And this weekend, we've seen the emergence of an exciting new player in the Supersport 300 class. Senna Adjus, he's taken 2 wins from 2 starts. This is his home track. We know he's got pace around here, but so far, he has been absolutely unbelievable in the way that he has won those races with such good, fast, consistent laps.
Yeah, what a display we've seen from him. As you say, Phil, Kawasaki mounted. He's been there or thereabouts all year. Got a podium at the start of the year at Phillip Island, but this weekend, normally you don't see dominance of this kind, but this young man has just shown us what can be achieved in this class if you put your mind to it, and boy, has he come of age. But my gut feeling, Phil, is he's not going to have it his own way this time out.
No, the fastest man all weekend in the races has actually been Zach Levy on board the brand new 2019 Yamaha R3. The debut in the championship this year of that brand new machine from Yamaha. It has got a fair amount of upgrades from the previous model, new fairing, new front end, and Zach Levy has been using it to very good use so far this weekend with the fastest race lap of the weekend. We're ready to go on the warm-up lap, the final opportunity for the riders to warm up those tyres and get ready for what is going to be certainly a very hectic battle. Remembering, coming into this race, into this round, Max Stouffer led the championship by over 30 points over the rest of the field. Well, he's been riding very well all weekend, and he's probably pretty much maintained that lead so far with some good, consistent rides.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's been finishing up where he needs to. Obviously not his weekend so far this time out, but you never know. It could be this time.
Senna Adjus, as we said, will start from pole position on board bike number 81. He'll be joined on the front row by Johnny Littrus and also Zach Levy on the brand new 2019 model R3.
It's Brandon Demery starting from row 2 with Hunter Ford next to him. He's been good so far. Max Stauffer, the championship leader, rounds out row 2.
Yanni Shaw, also Kawasaki Ninja 400 mounted. Callum O'Brien hopefully will be out there on the grid. He had a big crash in race number 2 and the team would have needed to do a fair bit of work. And one of the real stars this weekend, Harry Voigt on board bike number 29.
Yeah, absolutely. Row 4 starts with Lockie Taylor. He's a front runner at this place. Harry Kuru, we saw him earlier on today too. Peter Nerlich, always one you can count on.
Seth Crump been riding the wheels off the only KTM RC 390 in the field this weekend. Travis Hall been joined by his brother as also this weekend. He'll start out of row number 5 and Benny Baker on board bike number 72. He'll start out of 15th position.
Luke Johnston, Jacob Ralston doing 2 or 3 different classes this weekend, and Ryan Smith round out your row 6.
Row 7 has Mitch Coons, Xylus Bunting and Reece Orchard, another one of the juniors running many classes this weekend, Steve.
Row 8 is Tom Newton, Tristan Adamson and John Blanken on his Yamaha R3.
Massive field here. Row 9, Brad Trevitt, Josh Hall, the younger brother of Travis, and Jake Hatch on board bike number 99. The final row of the grid, Ryan Moscardini, Stephanie James and Sarah Fairbrother. They're having a great battle, those two, this weekend, along with Laura Brown for the leading female rider.
Mad Mike has got a few fans here this weekend too. We'll see more of him later on.
Well, getting ready for the first race on today's program. Senna Adjus starting from pole position. 2 race wins so far. Can he make it a hat-trick and a perfect weekend with 3 race wins and a pole position heading into the back end of the season? Supersport 300 is just about ready to go. Who will be the YMI Supersport 300 class victor this weekend? The revs getting ready to rise. Adjus on pole position. Littrus in second. Ready for the start. Great start there from Adjus, and also looked like a good start from Yanni Shaw on bike the 333 machine as well as they make their way down towards turn 1 for the first time. And Zach Levy has got a cracking start and he will slot into about 3rd or 4th position. That's his best start of the weekend. He's usually the master of the last laps, but now he's got off to a cracking start as well. Yeah,
it looks like he's really loving that brand new R3, the 2019 model, and it's certainly helping him off the line. But look at this already. It is Senna Adjus on the Kawasaki, who's already got a couple of bike lengths jump on the field.
Yeah, Hunter Ford's up there into 2nd position as well. A little bit of contact further back in the field as this massive field of Supersport 300 riders make their way down through YMF corner. Littrus in 2nd place. Hunter Ford, who was penalised at 1 position. Oh, no, there's someone holding up their hand there. Hunter Ford looked like he had a problem. Wanted to let everyone know that there was a problem, and then the bike got going again. So not sure what that issue was. Max Stauffer on board 27, our championship leader, is also well placed as they start the run down through KTM towards the bottom of the hill.
Well, if there's one man that can run with Senna Adjus, it is Hunter Ford. So he will be looking for a way through, and he's going round the outside. Difficult to do there, but I think he's pulled it off. Incredible stuff by Hunter Ford.
Not only did he go around the outside of him, but look at the lead he's managed to get on Johnny Littrus as they come up the hill now. As Hunter Ford comes through YMI corner out of MA and comes round to complete the first lap. Our race leader, Senna Adjus, is already across the line to take up the title of our race leader, and a 1:28.7 from a standing start for Senna Adjus. Hunter Ford in 2nd, Johnny Littrus in 3rd, Zach Levy in 4th place, Max Stauffer back there in 5th. Harry Voigt's got another cracking start. He's in 6th, and the top 10 is rounded out by Harry Curry, Brandon Demery, Seth Crump and Yanni Shaw.
Yeah, good to see Seth Crump on the KTM in that leading group as well. I mean, what a leading group we've got here. But it is Hunter Ford now that is trying to chase down Senna Adjus, but boy, does Senna Adjus do an incredible first lap. 3 seconds quicker than everybody else.
Just having a look at Hunter Ford, the way he was able to get past Littrus and literally just pull away, I think Littrus has got some sort of problem because he's dropped right back down through the field now to 10th position. And Zach Levy, and also you can see there Harry Voigt on board bike number 29 with the bright yellow wheels. He'll be easy to spot as he tries to make his way forward. He's tagged onto the back of one of the most experienced campaigners in this field, former R3 Cup champion Zach Levy.
Yeah, Harry Voigt's just getting better and better as the weekend goes on. I don't remember seeing him as high as this in a long time. I think he really is coming of age.
Well, and also too, you cast your mind back 12 months to this corresponding meeting. Who was the man that announced himself as a former a new front runner in this class? It was Max Stauffer, the man that now leads the championship. After this round last year, he went on to take race victories at the very next round. don't be surprised to see Harry Voigt do exactly the same thing. The way he has ridden this weekend, it is by far his best performance since he made his debut in the Supersport 300 class.
Yeah, absolutely. Brandon Demery's in the top 10 as well, of course, a champion of years gone by, doing a good job. He's certainly made a bit of a comeback, has Brandon Demery. Good to see him in the class and performing so strongly.
Yeah, Harry Curry's also looking quite menacing now as well on board bike number 43. He's caught right up onto the back of Harry Voigt's machine. He's having a big lunge down the inside, Steve Martin. And Harry Curry has gone up now into 4th place with a good move at AGV corner. He certainly left his braking to the last minute, got a good run down the inside, and most importantly, maintained his drive out of the corner. And who's right behind Seth Crump? Look at, we spoke before about the corner entry speed of the KTM. Seth Crump, what a corner there to get in there and maintain his corner speed. Although I think Harrison Voigt's just got the better of him now as they come up and go down the hill now towards KTM corner.
But Seth's got a good drive out through KTM corner on his KTM, a good comparison there. And I think he's managed to get back in front. But it is Hunter Ford who is out front trying to make that gap up to the man in front, Senna Agis. But I've got to say, and you don't say this very often in this class, Senna Agis is gone.
A 1:23.0 he managed to do in race number 1, Senna Agis, and a 1:23.0 also was his fastest lap in race number 2 this morning. He wasn't the fastest man on track in race number 2. That honour went to Zach Levy, but he's already down to a 23.7. But who's the fastest man as they come round now to complete this second flying lap? It is Lockie Taylor back in 9th position as Zach Levy goes up the inside of Hunter Ford and up into 2nd position. Well, we've seen those two do battle all weekend. That's going to continue here in race 3.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, the man out front is using racecraft. He's not actually quicker than everybody else. His fastest lap, there's 4 or 5 guys that can do that same lap time, but he just seems to be able to do it from the first lap. And he made a 3-second lead, and there it is. Everybody's lost it on the first lap. John Litrus's problems didn't help.
Looking at the field now as they make their way through Yamaha corner. Seth Crump is still right in that battle. He's right there behind Harry Curry in between round 3 of the championship at the Ben Motorsport Park. He's been over to the UK doing a couple of rounds in the BSB championship. Comes back with just that little bit more experience under his belt. As we mentioned, the only KTM RC390. He's just gone down the inside, in fact, of Harry Curry to move up into 4th position. A great move there from Seth Crump on board bike number 57.
Well, that's a pretty good battle because that's a 9-way battle for 2nd position there. It's only this man out front that's just doing everything perfectly. Inch perfect around this Morgan Park circuit.
Well, as you mentioned, Steve, he was fast on the first lap. On that lap, then there was nothing between the lap times of all of the rest of the top 10 of the field. As they come across now to complete the next lap, the fastest man in the race so far is Seth Crump on board bike number 57, a 1:23.476. I reckon that will be Seth Crump's fastest lap of the weekend by a long margin too.
By about 0.6 of a second, I reckon. He qualified at a 24.1, which was the fastest he'd ever been around here. So Seth Crump is doing a good job now and puts himself in podium contention up the inside of Hunter Ford. He makes the dive through. Zach Levy just in front of him now. Harry Curry's there too on the outside.
What did you say? Half a second? You're spot on, Steve Martin. 1:24.9 was his fastest lap in race number 2, and he's now looking extremely determined to try and find his way back. I don't know whether they've done some modifications to the bike or whether Seth's just in a better frame of mind as he's come out for race 3, but he is looking very menacing as he went past Hunter Ford and is now glued to the ducktail of the Puma RV's machine, bike number 87 of Zach Levy.
Well, absolutely. I mean,
there he goes. He's past Zach Levy and down in through KTM corner. The place you mentioned before was a good place for him to make that overtake.
Yeah, I mean, there is no problem with the top end of that KTM. It's certainly got really good speed, as you can just see him there. And once again, it is Zach Levy who dives back up the inside. It just seems to be a little bit of the punch out of the corners. He's got to try and keep it rolling through the Seth Crump.
Well, as they come across the line to complete lap number 5, the lead for Senna Agis is out to 3.8 seconds over Seth Crump, Zach Levy and Harry Curry. Curry drives down the inside. Seth Crump back into 2nd position. And Zach Levy's gone backwards because Harry Voigt's also come through on board bike number 29. This is a great ride from the youngster.
Absolutely. This is one really good battle for 2nd position. And it is... Yanni Shaw's joined the party as well. 5 seconds cover that leading the group for 2nd place.
Well, Harry Curry's taken up the running now, just getting ahead of Seth Crump, so he's up into 2nd position on board bike number 43. He's been having a good, strong, consistent weekend, too has Harry Curry. As you can see there, completely different riding styles between a couple of these riders.
Seth Crump takes his hand off the handlebar and has a look over his shoulder to see what's going on. Not a lot of good news for him, though, because there's a few people coming.
There is quite a massive group of riders as Seth Crump dives down the inside. His bike is so fast on that entry into KTM corner. Can he hold it as he goes around the outside of Harry Curry? Just having a look where Hunter Ford is now. He looks like he's dropped back a little bit in that group. He's actually back behind Max Stouffer in 8th position at the moment. Max Stouffer in 7th.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about that. We haven't seen much of Max at the moment, but Max is looking pretty menacing just in the middle of that pack now. Of course, he's a championship leader coming into this round, so we know what he can do. And boy, he didn't win here last year. He would like to at least get on the podium if he can.
Here comes Yanni Shaw on board the 333 machine as well, having a look up the inside. Can he move up one position? He had Max Stouffer and Brendan Demery just in front of him. I think Demery's actually managed to move forward one position as well on board bike number 11.
You almost don't want to be at the front of this group at this part of the race. You're better off to be working your way forward through with a couple of laps to go so that you get to the front of this group on the final lap, you know what I mean? Because the chances of going to the front or the back, it's like a little bit of a peloton there.
We're actually just over half race distance, and if you wonder why the Supersport 300 races aren't any longer than 10 laps, you can't keep this intensity up for any more than 10 laps. We saw in race number 2 when Harry Curry got on the podium, he couldn't even talk because he was that worn out after such an intense battle.
Yeah, he certainly was. He was breathless, and I mean, these things, although they're only small 300s, they still have to really muscle them around this Morgan Park circuit. It's tight around here, and there's certainly not much place to have a rest as it looks like Seth Crump tries to go around the outside again, but Harry Voigt moves through this time.
Yeah, Harry Voigt on board bike number 29 has taken up the running in 2nd position. Harry Curry right behind him in 3rd. Then it's Zach Levy on board bike number 87. As we mentioned, the brand new machine. It's got a different fairing to the old machines. It's also got the advantage of those upside down forks. And Zach Levy is one of the first guys to actually race that bike in the 2019 YMI Supersport 300 class. And what a debut it's been.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good one. More aerodynamic as well, and that will certainly help in this class.
Just having a look there, I think that Harry Voigt's also on board the brand new machine. You can see there the little air vent underneath his number 29 as they come round through turn 3. Look at the lean angle on these Supersport 300 machines as they come down now into AGV corner turn 4. Up the inside goes Zach Levy. He was all out of control. On the inside of him was Brendan Demery on board bike number 11.
Well, Seth Crump's out wide. Someone's just waved their hand there. That might have been Brendan Demery. That's so sorry about pushing you wide, but I'm coming through.
And look who's just starting to edge their way forward now in the middle of that group. Max Stouffer on board bike number 27, led the championship by 33 points coming into this round. He finished 4th in race number 1, and he also had a good strong finish in race number 2 as well. He's just gathering up points and looking like a very strong championship contender heading into the back half of the season.
Yeah, I think he's in a pretty good spot right now, the number 27, Maxi Stouffer. He's with a couple of laps to go in this race, he can just sort of work his way forward. When you get to the front of the group, everyone wants to have a go at you, and then when someone fails, it's the next person's turn and the next person's turn. So if you can make it your turn to pass the guy in front on the last lap, on the last corner, you've done your job right.
Well, Seth Crump trying to hold off Hunter Ford at the moment. Remember, they had a coming together at the last round at the Ben Motorsport Park as they were battling for the lead. Now they're in the middle of an intense battle for second place as Zach Levy comes up the inside, gets the better of Harry Curry, who then tries to repay the favourite turn 2. We saw him do that yesterday afternoon in race number 1, but couldn't quite get the job done then on bike number 87. Right behind him it is Stouffer, Hunter Ford, Seth Crump, Yanni Shaw, Brendan Demery still in this group as well. And then there is a big group back to bike number 25, Luke Johnson, that rounds out the top 10.
Meanwhile, out front at Senna Agis, who's just doing everything right. 0.2 slower than the group behind last time out, but he's got plenty of in hand now. 4.6 seconds in front. This is unusual. We don't normally see this, but Senna Agis way out in front.
Well, he's done probably more laps around here than the rest of the field put together as well. Steve Martin knows this track like the back of his hand, as we mentioned, and he's doing a great job this weekend just to reel off fast and consistent laps. You have a look at the last lap times. They were all within 0.2 of a second of each other for pretty much the top 9 in this race.
Maxi Stouffer's moved up again. Hunter Ford just sits at the back of the pack there, but it is Harry Curry in second position with Zach Levy behind him.
Well, they're coming round to get the last lap, but only 2 more corners to go to come across the start-finish line, and it is the final of 10 laps for the YMI Supersport 300 race number 3. Senna Agius has a lead that is now out to just over 5 seconds, and it is up into second place. The last lap master, it is Zach Levy on board bike number 87 that takes up the running in second position with Harry Curry, Harry Voigt. Then it's Max Stouffer, championship leader, sitting right behind Harry Voigt in bike number 27 in 5th position.
It's going to be hectic as they head down the hill in the AGV now. Up the inside goes Harry Curry, managed to get past.
Seth Crump. How did he save that, Steve Martin?
No, he's, he'd give it everything he did, but it's not going to be his day today. But meanwhile, out front, Senna Agius. But this is the battle we're watching, Phil. Harry Curry riding on the ragged edge at the moment.
I think they need to also watch out for Harry Voigt on board bike number 29 as he tries to go up the inside and does go up the inside of Zach Levy on board bike number 87. Harry Curry's just started to get a couple of bike length lead because I think that was through turn 7 where Harry Voigt comes through. Maybe he lost a little bit of drive for Zach Levy, and he's dropped back now. Here comes Max Stouffer as well on board the 27 machine, and Hunter Ford on 20 as well.
Have a look at Yanni Shaw. He's coming through too. We haven't seen him in the 300 class for a while, but Yanni Shaw is starting to make his presence felt in this leading pack. But it is this man, number 81, Senna Agius, who comes over the line and takes the win in the Supersport 300 class with one hand off. Doesn't get easier than that.
Perfect weekend. On the run to the line, though, I think it is Maxi Stouffer, Harry Curry and Harry Voigt that battle it out for the final places on the podium. And it's Max Stouffer that gets the nod by 4 1,000ths of a second over Harry Voigt. Harry Curry just off the podium in 4th place. There was Steve Martin, 19 1,000ths of a second between 2nd and 4th. In the right on the line, Hunter Ford finished in 5th place. Levy in 7th, Levy in 6th, Yanni Shaw in 7th. Demery, Crump and Johnson round out the top 10. And Seth Crump was right in there until that last lap battle at AGV corner turn 4 where he just pushed his luck a fraction too far.
Yeah, well, he used all his luck up.
So Senna Agius takes the win by 4.952 seconds over Max Stouffer, and Harry Voigt will join them on the podium. I think that will be Harrison Voigt's first podium of the year on board bike number 29 as well. Harry Curry 4th, as we mentioned. Hunter Ford, Zach Levy, Yanni Shaw, Brendan Demery, Seth Crump. A great ride from Seth Crump and Luke Johnson rounding out the top 10 with Peter Nerlich in 11th, Christian Adamson in 12th. Jacob Ralston, one of our juniors, who'll be in action far more this afternoon as well in 13th. Kyle O'Connell in 14th, Travis Hall in 15th, Ryan Smith, Tom Newton, Reece Orchard, Josh Hall and Laura Brown inside the top 20 as our leading female rider as well.
Jacob Hatch in 21st, John Blenken in 22nd, Brad Trivet there in 23rd, Mitch Kuhn must have had a problem back there in 24th, Stephanie James 25th, Ryan Muscadini 26th, Sarah Fairbrother had a good ride as well, 28th was Noel Mahan, Jeremy Smock in 29th, and 30th was Josh Andrews on his Yamaha R31. Gregory Farrell was 31st, Hayden Stiff in 32nd, and John Littris, who had the problem with Lockie Taylor, didn't finish the race.
Let's have a look at the highlights of this race now as Senna Agius did his usual trick and got away to a fantastic start from pole position, and over the first lap Steve Martin seemingly pulled out a 3-second lead, which was what he held for the entire race distance over a marauding pack trying to chase him down.
Yeah, it was almost as if Johnny Littris had some sort of problem which let him get that massive lead. Hunter Ford got past and through the group, tried his best to bring Senna back to him, but it wasn't to be because guys like Harry Voigt, Harry Curry and Zach Levy were doing their best to give him a good shot up the front.
Seth Crump was also having by far his best race of the weekend as he made his way through and into that battle for second place. Hunter Ford, Zach Levy, Seth Crump, Harry Curry, they all had their turn at leading the chase of our race leader, Senna Agius.
Yeah, it was the most competitive we've seen Seth Crump this weekend. He gave it absolutely everything he could. And you could see down into the turn for the AGV corner how tight it was. It was anybody's race for second on the battle. Seth got pushed wide there by Brandon Demery by the looks of it, but they soon get over that in this class. And meanwhile, it was the wily old fox, number 87, Zach Levy, who found himself in the battle for the second position.
Yeah, Seth Crump had a big lunge down the inside at AGV corner on the final lap. Couldn't quite get past and realised that all he had to do was come around and take up some good points, but he was certainly out of the battle for second place and a spot on the podium. This man took the win, but the real battle was for second place. Eventually, it was won by Max Stouffer, who took second place ahead of Harry Voigt, who took his first podium of the year. They're on the podium with Emma.
Harry Voigt, 3rd position, and as Phil just mentioned, your first podium for the year for 300. Congratulations. What a fantastic run to the line that was.
Yeah, thank you, Emma. But yeah, it was very stressful. But big thank you to Jamie Stauffer for all the hard work he put in to get my bike ready. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Well done. Stressful for you, but great for the fans. Great work.
Yeah, thank you.
And in second position, Max Stover. That was nail-biting stuff. Thank you so much for the great action and battles between yourself and Harry.
Yeah, it was a tough one out there. I've been struggling all weekend, but I was able to grab second in that last race, which I'm pretty happy with.
How were the conditions? Because it was very windy this morning.
Yeah, it was very windy and slippery out the track, so it was hard to get used to. And change of setup, it was difficult to get my head around, so I was able to work it out all right.
Thanks, Max. Well done.
No worries.
And ladies and gentlemen, 3 from 3, Senna Aegis winning yet again for the final race of the weekend. Give him a round of applause. Well done.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, after I got pole on Saturday, I was confident I could do it. Yeah, it was a lot closer race 2. I got a good start and put my head down, and yeah, I'm happy with that for the weekend. That's good.
Thanks, Senna.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to congratulate Laura Brown for being the fastest female for the weekend, presented from AGV. Thank you very much, Rich, with his beautiful AGV helmet, the fastest female for the weekend. Well done.
Congratulations to our top 3. Kawasaki have certainly been a strong performer this year in the Superbike class, leading the championship heading into this round. Let's hear from them.
It was a sea of green last time out, with Kawasaki's BC Performance racing team taking 3 from 3. It's been a long journey to get to that point though. Let's hear from Kelvin Riley, and he tells us how it happened.
Well, I emigrated from the UK to Australia 7 years ago now, and when I first came here there was probably no Kawasaki supported team, and I've always loved Kawasaki motorcycles and been involved in Kawasaki motorcycles, so I thought, hey, let's start a race team. And here we are, basically 5 years after starting the race team, here we are leading the 2019 Australian Superbike Championship. It's been a long slog getting to where we are now, and you know, we're still a small team. We're not a big team. My company, BC Performance, is a motorcycle performance workshop in Sydney, and I'm lucky to have Kawasaki support, and we are the Kawasaki race team here. Yeah, we're a small team. It's been a hell of a lot of work to get here, and I've got some really good guys working for me that have really stood by me, and including the riders. Bryan has been a great asset for us. We have led the championship before, last year after the first round when Bryan first got on our bike, and we've never let it this far into the championship. So we have obviously we're at round 4. We've got 4 rounds to go, and I'm pretty happy with how we're going. For this year, we're lucky enough to have the brand new 2019 Kawasaki ZX-10RR. It's definitely a step up from the motorcycle we had last year. The ZX-10R is a brilliant motorcycle, but the RR's got those few little tweaks that are making it better, and that's definitely proving to be better for our performance on track. There's very good riders, very good teams, and very good, support in this championship. And yes, it can go either way, but we've Dunlop have worked really hard. We're the only Dunlop team in this championship, and they've worked really hard on the tyre. We've got some improvements come our way, and I think we're in a good position to see in the rest of the championship.
Welcome back to Morgan Park Raceway. It is round number 4 for the Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Race number 2 about to start for Motorsports TV Supersport. And just quickly, the guy that's sitting on the front of the grid, you didn't win that last one. In fact, you slipped back. Can you take us through what happened, Nick Lington?
Yeah, no, it was a great start. It's nice starting from pole position, but I think on the 2nd or 3rd lap, I did have a big moment. Dropped back down to 5th or 6th position, fought my way back up into 3rd, and then ran off again. So fingers crossed it's a better race today, and yeah, we'll hope for the best.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was good to see Nick Leamington there starting from pole position again, taking up where he left off last time, Phil. But, as he said, he didn't all go his own way in that race earlier on today. Hopefully they can settle themselves down, and Nick can have a better race this time out because Tom Taparis once again asserted his dominance.
He did. Nick didn't finish where he wanted to, but he took important points for the championship, Steve Martin, and he remains in 2nd place. Back down to the grid with him.
Hey, Rebate, not the race you wanted last time out, but you were up there at the very start. Strategy for this one, and are you A-OK?
Yeah, it was a bit of a difficult race, the last one. I felt really good at the start, but you know, at the end I made a silly mistake on my behalf. So I know what I did wrong, but I'm feeling a bit sore for this one. So see how we go. But you know, I'm feeling good on the bike. So yeah, it's a long race, but see how we go.
Go get them, boys. I'm really excited for this one. We're just clearing the grid and ready to go racing for race number 2. So over to our commentators, Phil Harlem and Steve Martin.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Yes, Motorsports TV, Supersport about ready to get underway. And yeah, Reid Batty, at the start of that race, what he didn't actually mention in the chat that he had there with Emma was that he was looking good for challenging for that race win early on in the race and really riding the wheels off the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia GSXR 600 here this weekend.
Yeah, he literally did ride the wheels off it too, because unfortunately he had a small crash and hopefully he's a little bit knocked about, but I reckon that he's going to be competitive this time out. Be good to see someone take it to Tom Taparis, because he is on a planet of his own at the moment.
Yeah, Tom Taparis has lost one race only this year. That was race 3 at the last round, round 3. A round where we saw 3 Supersport races. Nick Leamington taking the race win in the third and final race there. But Tom Taparis has taken victory in every other race. And he'll start on the front row of the grid. But Nick Leamington, the man that challenged him all the way at his home circuit in South Australia, will start from pole position. Reid Batty also on that front row of the grid.
Callum Spriggs, good to have him back in the championship, but starts off row 2 from 4th. Ollie Bayliss, boy, he was coming through the pack too. And Corey Turner, they had it coming together. Be interesting to see how that plays out.
Brock Pearson was on the podium in race number 1. Can he do it again in race number 2, starting from 7th place on the grid? Chris Quinn, the most experienced man in the field, will start out at position number 8. And Dallas Skier, another very rapid South Australian, in 9th.
Row 4, Aidan Hayes on his Yamaha R6 is back in the championship. Ty Lynch from South Australia and Avalon Biddle all the way from New Zealand.
Jack Passfield, Andrew Edser and Jack Hyde round out the 15-bike field here this weekend. And it is so good to have Avalon Biddle back again, the reigning New Zealand Supersport champion, as you mentioned, Steve, doing a good job this weekend on board her Yamaha.
Yeah, she was super competitive last time out at Tail and Bend. Of course, this circuit a little bit trickier, a little bit bumpier and tougher to learn, so she hasn't done a lot of track time around here, I'm sure.
And Tom Taparis, the man, took victory in the first race, and starting from 2nd place on that front row of the grid, will immediately leave here and head back to Germany to continue his campaign in the German IDM Supersport Championship, racking up a lot of frequent fire points in 2019 is Tom Taparis. Well, getting ready for the second and final Motorsports TV Supersport race of the weekend. Round 4, it's the halfway point in the championship. Steve Martin, can Nick Leamington do the thing and score a race win from pole position as the red rise? And he's Nick Leamington that gets a good start, but watch Reid Batty. He could look like he got a cracking start on board that Suzuki, and he will indeed lead them down in towards turn 1 for the first time. Corey Turner, he's had a bit of a coming together there. Brock Pearson, lucky to keep the bike on track after he got a bit of a push from the inside.
Yeah, well, Brock Pearson definitely was work today. He was one of the guys that was able to come through the pack, but he's going to have to come from a long, long way back. Ollie Bayliss is there, Corey Turner too, but it is Reid Batty on the Suzuki who leads the way at the moment.
It looked like a pretty good start there from Dallas Skier. I think that may have been him that pushed out Brock Pearson as they came through turn number 2, but it is the rapid starting Reid Batty from the south coast of New South Wales that leads them through turn 6 for the first time. They'll turn round through turn 7, the very bumpy left-hander, and now start the run down the hill.
Well, it is Reid Batty out front at the moment doing a good job. Nick Leamington able to hang in there, and Corey Turner on the Honda this weekend, I think he is, so it's good to see him back in the fray and up the front where he belongs. He knows this track well. He's had a stint in Superbikes last year, but he's been out of racing for a little while, so to be here racing again, good to see, and competitive. But it's Reid Batty as they head through the YMISs up onto the start-finish straight over the hump and leads the lap number 1 of 14 laps, a long way around this circuit on one of these 600s.
Yeah, just looking to see where Callum Spriggs is as well. He's gone back to 6th position. He's usually a front runner in this class at his home circuit. So look for Callum Spriggs on board bike number 50 to be making his way through the field. And along with Corey Turner riding 2 of the older bikes in this Supersport field as well. Corey Turner sideways down into AGV corner on bike number 52, the Honda CBR 600.
Ollie Bayliss has moved up a couple of places now too. Ollie Bayliss past Turner and he's up into 4th position. Keep an eye on Ollie. He's a junior in this race. Can you believe it or not?
Yeah, he is the youngest rider to ever score points in the Australian Supersport Championship, Ollie Bayliss, and he did that on his debut in the class at the World Superbike round earlier on this year at Phillip Island. And look at the aggressive way that he's manhandling the Yamaha R6. Of course, doing a great job in this class in his debut year, but he's got some good people behind him, and he also comes from relatively good stock.
Yeah, certainly does. And it's his home track, obviously. Lives on the Gold Coast, so keep an eye on Ollie Bayliss. He probably comes out here every second day.
As they make their way up towards YMI corner, it is still Reid Batty that leads the race from Tom Taparis and Nick Leamington. Let's have a look at the lap times on this first flying lap as they come across the start-finish. Second lap down, fastest man Tom Taparis at 1:15.6, so they're down to pretty good pace early on in this race.
Now, the thing is, we saw in the race earlier on today that most of the guys can do the 1:15s, but they drift off towards the end of the race. The only man that seems to be able to keep that consistent pace up is the man that's been doing the most kilometres of them all, Tom Taparis. And he's looking for a way past the leader at the moment as he dives up the outside, setting himself up into Yamaha. Can he do it here? No, because Reid Batty, oh, he is. He's going up the inside in the Yamaha, and it is Tom Taparis who makes the move.
Yeah, in race number one, Tom Taparis actually set his fastest lap of the race on the 8th lap of the 14-lap journey. Most of the other competitors, apart from Brock Pearson, actually set their fastest laps on laps 3 and 4 of the race, using up the grip of those tyres early. But whatever they've done to the Lambridge Transport Yamaha is certainly holding the tyres in there well. You can see there, Reid Batty was deep down the inside, but Tom Taparis just seemed to get a bit better drive out of that corner and used it to good effect only a couple of corners later.
Bit of a moment there for him. I'll tell you what they did. They put Tom Taparis on it. That's what made it so good, because he is in a planet of his own. Doing lots of kilometres. As you said, he's riding in the IDM Championship as well, while most of these guys have been itching to get on the bike since Tail and Bend. That was about 6 weeks ago. He's been riding every weekend, and it shows.
It's really starting to close up now in the battle for a 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th position, with Corey Turner back in 6th, only it's at about 1.3 seconds off the second place rider at the moment, Reid Batty.
Yeah, Brock Pearson's way off the back of this group now. Just that when he ran wide, that has not helped him at all. It'd be very difficult for him now to figure in this one.
He's managed to get himself past Dallas Skier, who he had that little coming together with through turn 2 on the first lap. But is Tom Taparis just starting to eke out a little bit of a gap now?
Maybe.
Over the rest of the field as they come through Yamaha corner.
You've got to wonder, we saw this happen last time out, and Reid Batty tried everything that he could do, risked everything, made a gap into a safe second, but he was still pushing and fell off out of a podium. I don't think he's going to do that this time. I think Reid Batty, if he can't win, this time he's going to go, well, I've got to battle it out for a podium. Not going to be so easy, though, because there's a big gaggle of guys that could fight for that position.
Yeah, you can see Sam Costanza and the Lambridge crew there getting the lap board ready to hold out for Tom Taparis to let him know exactly what's going on. And looks like Emma's down on the grid with some news.
Just watching on with Taparis, and I tell you what, so far so good for Tommy this weekend. I feel like he's got a really good mindset coming into this one.
He's been well prepared. He's been spending a lot of time on his bike overseas, and he's basically flown in home. We've come straight up here, and he's performing well actually this weekend. We're really happy with him.
Best of luck.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, great to hear from Richard Taparis there, Tom's dad, and he's always pretty relaxed when these races are on.
On the outside. I don't know about the inside. It'd be pretty tough, but all in all, as he says, Tom's had a lot of time on the bike. We mentioned that. He's in control. Doesn't do anything silly. You never see him out of control, actually. He makes it look easy. So, you know, he's got every right to be calm, because I think that Tom Taparis at the moment is just that little bit level higher than most of the other guys, which is good, because the championship needs it. That makes these other guys fight harder.
And pushing very hard in second place at the moment is Reid Batty. The fastest man in the race so far is Tom Taparis. On the last lap, he did a 15.542. But just looking at the way the positions on track are changing, I wouldn't be surprised to see that Reid Batty uncorks his fastest lap of the race so far. No, in fact, the man that does the fastest lap of the race so far is actually Callum Spriggs, back in 4th position, a 1:15.285. That is 0.3 of a second faster than anyone else has been on track in this race, Steve Martin.
Yeah, well, Callum Spriggs is no fool either. He knows how to ride a motorcycle. Had a shoulder injury maybe last year or the year before that really put him out for a while, but good to see him back here. I've heard rumours that he says if he goes good here, he could continue for the rest of the year. Wouldn't that be a great thing?
It certainly would be, and that's what he said to me yesterday afternoon or Friday afternoon, that if he wins the 2 races here, he'll probably do the rest of the season. If not, he hopes to be at 1, maybe 2 rounds in the remainder of the championship season, but he is eyeing off the Phillip Island and Sydney Motorsport Park rounds at the end of the year.
I love Reid Batty's style. He's certainly got a different style about him to everyone else. He doesn't mind leaning the bike over. He really gets that elbow down. He uses a lot of lean angle, but he somehow, I guess due to the sweet nature of that GSXR chassis that absorbs a lot of bumps, it's just the way that they've designed it. He can keep the edge grip. Normally when you lean a bike over as much as he has for so long, you lose your grip, but he's able to keep that grip somehow.
You can see Nick Leamington and Callum Spriggs are continuing to push on, try and hone in on the back of the Team Suzuki X-Star Australia GSX-R 600. That bike with that very nimble chassis, as you mentioned, Steve Martin, as they come round through turn 3 now and drop down the hill into turn 4. TV doesn't really indicate how much of a downhill run that is down into towards turn 4. And Ollie Baylor still hasn't given up challenging for this podium as well. You can see him there. He's just dropped off the back a fraction, but still pushing on incredibly hard. And right behind them, I think you'll find that Corey Turner is now being joined by Brock Pearson.
Yeah, Brock Pearson had that terrible start, working his way back. Unfortunately for him, I can't see him getting on the podium or even getting in a battle for the podium. You just can't afford to have moments in the race like that. Perhaps he was helped out a little bit by Dallas Skier, as you said, but all he can do now is gain important information for next time. But Tom Taparis certainly not running away with this one like he did earlier on today.
The last lap around, all of our top 4 were separated by literally thousandths of a second in their lap times.
Yep, and that's indicated when you look on track at the moment, I reckon. This is going to be a pretty good last few laps. We're pretty much halfway through this race now, so all that initial grip has gone, and we're running on the setup that the teams have done. What I mean by that is we come here and do free practice and qualifying, and the teams come and they just try to get that the perfect balance of the bike so that they can keep the grip for longer in the race.
Top 4 all once again separated by only 1/10 of a second, all still circulating in the 15s. And the slowest of those riders was still only 0.6 of a second slower than the fastest lap of the race so far.
Great overtaking manoeuvre by Brock Pearson there. Just slid it all the way to the apex of the corner, let off the brakes at the right time, made it look easy. Not that easy in theory, in practical though, Phil, I can guarantee you that.
Well, down the hill we come towards KTM corner, and it is still Tom Taparis that leads from Reid Batty, but looking very menacing at this point of the race is Callum Spriggs on board bike number 50. He closed right up onto the back of the 27 machine of Nick Leamington, but Nick Leamington seemed to get a great run through the corner and just pulled out a little bit of a distance, but once again on the brakes, he's gone in too deep, and Callum Spriggs has just whipped past him with what seemed to be relative ease.
Nick's weakness is definitely corner entry. He always gets a little bit sideways, which you don't want to do, because when you get sideways, it means that tyre's overheating. He's good on the brakes in there. It looks like he's got back Callum Spriggs past him, but he always overheats the tyre a little bit. It's run wide. I'm pretty sure it's Nick Leamington. He's run wide. He's tried to outbrake him, couldn't do it. Oh no! Unfortunately for the man who sits second in the championship, not what he needed to do.
Well, that's promoted Ollie Bayliss up 1 position, and also Brock Pearson, who is the next rider coming through. We've got another yellow flag waving down here at, oh no, that was maybe over at the back where, oh no, that's over the back there, so I don't know who has actually gone off down there. But Nick Leamington looks like he's recovered back into 9th position, Steve. So he'll still score championship points, which is very important for him in this stage in the championship. Coming into this race, he was 16 points ahead of Brock Pearson in the championship.
Disappointing though when you're the pole man and you finish 9th, isn't it? So, you know, like definitely not the day that Nick Leamington wanted or deserved. Just seemed like maybe a little bit set up might have been off this weekend just a little bit.
Just just looking at Ollie Bayliss' season so far. He's had 2 podiums. He's looking to add to that. Time for an update to Emma.
Watching on with Dale Reid. Hey, I saw you having a bit of a chat with Reid on the grid earlier. What sort of advice were you giving him ahead of this race?
Oh, look, I just told him to put race 1 out of his mind. Obviously, he's running really well in race 1. 4 laps to go, he's P2 and comfortable, and made a small mistake down at turn 1 and accidentally unfortunately had a crash. So, but again, unfortunately, on the lap that we're watching, he's gone from 2nd to 6th. So I'm not sure exactly what happened, but here's what it is.
Thanks, Brady.
Thanks, mate.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the yellow flag that we saw waving on that last lap, Steve Martin, over the back of the circuit near YMF corner, that it was Reid Batty on board that Team Suzuki X-Star Australia machine running off track, because he's gone from 2nd where he was back down to, at the moment, currently circulating in 6th position.
Yeah, definitely not a crash, because he's only lost 12 seconds, but looks like an off-track excursion, something that Reid Batty didn't need. He was definitely in with a shot for a podium this time out, but now 6th place for him at the moment is good for Ollie Bayliss, because it puts him on that podium again.
Callum Spriggs up into 2nd place as well on board the older version of the Yamaha R6. Just behind Reid Batty, we can see there one of the most experienced campaigners, Chris Quinn from northern New South Wales. This would be the closest round to him from home as well. Dallas Skier in 8th position, Nick Limington back there in 9th, as we mentioned, and Aidan Hayes on board bike number 46 has managed to work his way up inside the top 10. Just outside the top 10 is Avalon Biddle, the reigning New Zealand Supersport champion. She's been doing a great job this weekend. And Jack Passfield, who has got his new rider coach, Jed Metcher, here looking over him this weekend as well.
Yeah, he's down in 12th position at the moment. But once again, it's Tom Taparas, who hasn't been blisteringly fast, but he's just been able to keep those fast lap times up the whole way through. Everybody else has drifted in the 16s now. He started in the 15s. He's still in the 15s. So incredible stuff by Tom Taparas.
Yeah, his last lap was only 0.4 of a second slower than his fastest lap of the race so far. He continues to lead. The lead is now out to 2.350 seconds as he comes round to complete the 11th lap of this 14-lap journey.
I tell you what, though, Callum Spriggs is having a red-hot go. He's, what is he now, 2.5 seconds off of the leader, but, you know, just 0.2 off. I'm sure that he's going to be happy with a 2nd place, so don't think you can expect too many fireworks there.
Brock Pearson is 0.9 of a second behind Ollie Bayliss, and on the last lap was almost a second faster. Look at the speed with which he is closing in on Ollie Bayliss. Who was it that said only a couple of laps ago, Steve Martin, that Brock Pearson's hopes of a podium were well and truly done for?
I think that was the other commentator, not me. I don't know. No, that was me. But I look like I could be certainly eating my words after this one, because Brock Pearson has also done a lot of laps around this track, and the way that we saw him do that overtake earlier on, he was pushing into the middle of the corner. He can definitely ride. He's definitely a podium contender, but he got knocked off the track by someone. Didn't really see what happened, but he got a bad start for one reason or another. Well, he's in contention now. But what about Ollie Bayliss? He'll be coming past the start-finish on his lap board that's held out over the pit wall. They'll be saying, go, go, go for the podium. He's going to give it everything it's got now. And with a couple of laps left to go, Ollie Bayliss could get a little bit squiggly.
Well, this is going to be a very interesting battle between 2 young, fast prospects, 2 local Queenslanders doing a real good job to try and get themselves up onto the podium as well. And 2 blokes that, in my opinion, have got a massive future in road racing. It's great to see Ollie Bayliss stepping up to the Supersport class so early, and it's great to see Brock Pearson come back from a couple of big injuries to be going as fast as he is now.
Well, watch down into here. This is where Brock Pearson's strong. Not this time, though. Bayliss laid on the brakes. Pearson thinks better of it, just sits there, bides his time. He's got a little bit of time to decide where he's going to pass.
That new livery for Brock Pearson does look fantastic as well. It's a debut here at Morgan Park this weekend for round 4 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. As we mentioned, this is the middle round of the year. 3 rounds to go in the run to the flag to determine who will be the 2019 champions. And Brock Pearson is sitting 3rd in the championship and looking to try and make himself 3rd in this race. He would love another podium to make it 2 podiums for the weekend.
Bayliss seems to be strong in this part of the track. It's going to be difficult for Brock Pearson. He's going to have to do it in the start of the next part of the lap, because Bayliss through here is strong, and the drive out of the final corner, he just seems to, look at that, 2 or 3 bike lengths there. If it's the last lap and that happens, Pearson's going to have no chance. He's got to outbrake him as tight as he can here. It's going to be in the first half of the track that he has a crack.
Well, final lap for the Supersport class, the Motorsports TV Supersport class, in fact. And Ollie Bayliss is getting great drive out of the corners. Has he been holding a little bit in the bag, Steve Martin?
No.
Because he's giving everything he can now out of turn 3 and on the run down in towards turn 4, ASBK corner.
Pearson's he's gone wide, Bayliss tries to get through, he can't get through. It's side by side, but he has gone wide. Bayliss is back in front, it's not over yet. There's still opportunity into Yamaha.
There certainly is Yamaha, and then also turn 7, a favourite overtaking manoeuvre for a lot of the competitors in this class this weekend. Then the all-important run down through the hill, past KTM corner, down towards Pirelli and Suzuki. Tom Taparis leads, Callum Spriggs in second, but the real interest, who is going to join them on the podium in third position? It is Ollie Bayliss and Brock Pearson. They are bare-knuckle brawling as they come down towards the final corners of this 14-lap race.
It's going to be hard for Pearson now, because this is the part of the track where Bayliss is so good. This is where you need to be good here. Pearson's closed the gap, but we're coming up to the final 11, turn 11 and 12. Taparis goes through, takes the victory, big wheelie from him. He's got to be happy, looks over his shoulder. Callum Spriggs is going to get second, but who's going to be third?
It looks like Ollie Bayliss is going to hold Pearson off to the line just as they came across the line. Ollie Bayliss celebrates, punching the air. Brock Pearson, a solid weekend from him. A solid weekend from that man as well. Corey Turner on board bike number 52. Great to see him back in the championship. And Reed Batty comes across the line to take points for 6th position. And essentially, at the end of the day, good points for the championship. Probably not the ones he was after this weekend, though.
No, absolutely. And I reckon that Motorcycling New South Wales needs to have a look at the grading of the man who won the races. I just noticed here he's noted down as not an A grader, but a B grader.
Yeah, B grader that's raced in Moto 3 World Championship, World Supersport Championship, and is quite proficient at a stand-up wheel stand as well.
Well, that certainly looked like an A grade wheelie to me.
Well, the two good mates, the teammates from last year, Tom Taparis and Ollie Bayliss, they'll be joining each other on the podium with a thumbs up and confirming each other's results. But congratulations to Tom Taparis. He takes the win by 3 seconds over Callum Spriggs, and Ollie Bayliss will join him on the podium, as we mentioned, in third position. Brock Pearson, a great weekend for Brock Pearson, a confidence-building weekend for the rider on board bike number 17. He takes 4th position. Corey Turner in 5th place on board bike number 52. Great to have him back in the ASBK paddock as well. Reed Batty in 6th, Chris Quinn in 7th, Nick Limington in 8th, Dallas Skier in 9th, and Aidan Hayes inside the top 10 on board bike number 46.
Jack Passfield takes 11th position as Ty Lynch from South Australia in the number 85 is 12th. Avalon Biddle 13th, so she picks up some points as she makes her way over from New Zealand. Andrew Edser finishes a minute 14 behind, and unfortunately for Jack Hyde, he didn't finish the race.
Well, let's have a look at the highlights of the final Motorsports TV Supersport race of the weekend. And a great start from the front row of the grid saw Reed Batty on board bike number 33 lead them through turn 1. But it was that incident there that put Brock Pearson back behind the 8 ball. He had it coming together with Dallas Skier on board bike number 86 and left himself with a fair amount of work to do early on in the race.
Back out front, though, it was Reed Batty. He was fast off the start all weekend. Tom Taparis behind him makes his way back. Reed Batty giving it everything he could. Nick Limington was able to hang in there. But look at this overtaking. Brock Pearson, who got that bad start, really on a charge. He had a long way to go, but there was an opportunity for him to get a podium. Callum Spriggs made the move on Nick Limington too, up through onto the start-finish straight, and Callum Spriggs, it looks like he's back. Then Nick ran off through turn 1.
Yeah, got it all wrong, late on the brakes, trying to get back past and move up one further position, but essentially went back a few positions as he detoured through the gravel trap, and Callum Spriggs rode on to a very lonely second place. But over the final stages of the race, the real battle was between these two young Queenslanders doing a great job. Ollie Bayliss on board bike number 68, Brock Pearson on board bike number 17. Pearson had a big lunge down at turn 4, the AGV corner, but Ollie Bayliss played it smart and managed to hold him off all the way to the flag. But Pearson was looking at every corner to try and find a way past.
It's going to be difficult for him, though, because Tom Taparis got that clean run onto the straight, did an A-grade wheelie over the line, looks over his shoulder, once again says, where's everybody else? Callum Spriggs comes through for second place, and Ollie Bayliss picks up another podium in his maiden year in Supersport.
Yeah, that's 3 podiums for Ollie Bayliss now in the 2019 Motorsports TV Supersport Championship, and consolidates his 4th place in the championship as well. Great.
And it was, you know, a fantastic start. And
well, let's go down to Emma. She's on the podium with our top 3.
Starting with third position, Ollie Bayliss. It was a battle with Brock Pearson all the way to the end. Your first podium since Wakefield Park. Well done.
Yeah, no, it was a really good race. After the drama that happened in the first race, we're just happy to come away with a podium for the last to finish off the weekend.
Thanks, mate. Well done.
Cheers, Emma.
In second position, Callum Springs. What a fantastic day for you. 2 podiums this weekend. Well done.
Yeah, it's been an awesome weekend. I did the first round at Phillip Island and I wasn't really going to do too many rounds this year. And I was looking forward to this round. I'd done a little bit of riding towards this event and then I was hoping to be on the podium, which I managed to do so, and I had some good fun this weekend and yeah, some good solid races. So I couldn't have done it without Brielle, my girlfriend, Mum and Dad, and Chris from Triple X Rated, and Tony taking work off to come and help me, and my mate for wrapping my bike for me, making it look good, and yeah, it's looking good on the podium now, so looking forward to spraying some champagne.
Enjoy, it's been great having you back. And ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Reed Batty got you going into turn 1 at the start there, but you got back and won yet again. Tom Taparis.
Thanks, Emma. Yes, what a day. I was sort of a bit, not down, but yesterday was a tough one. But yeah, today to come out and do the double here at Morgan Park reminds me of 2016 when I won on my 300 here for the first time. But yeah, such a good job by my Lambridge Yamaha team. Just all weekend, we didn't test here and we were sort of on the back foot, but yeah, we just kept at it, and then today, yeah, I think a bit of experience from overseas helped me a little bit, and yeah, just rode my own races today, and I think we did a good job. So yeah, super stoked with the weekend. Yeah, can't give it up to my team enough. My sponsors, Yamaha, Pirelli, Leader Nutrition, Lambridge Transport, and Bella Danese. Just can't wait for winter now. Just think the championship lead's gotten a bit bigger now after this round, and yeah, just want to keep the ball rolling and get some more wins.
Thanks, Tom. See you at Winton.
Cheers. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your top 3. Give them a round of applause.
Well, congratulations to Tom Taparis and the Lambridge Transport team. They have extended that championship lead. 240 points over 248 points. The lead now, Nick Livington, 188. So it has been extended quite substantially. Brock Pearson, a podium this weekend, holds him in 3rd position in the championship. And Ollie Bayliss also in 4th place, continues to keep a very good position in the 2019 championship. Got to remember, it's his first year in this championship. Reed Batty in 5th, Aidan Hayes in 6th, Dallas Skier in 7th. Callum Springs with only 2 rounds under his belt so far. He's inside the top 10, ahead of Chris Quinn and Jack Pasfield. Well, plenty more action coming up. Superbikes up shortly.
We're at the pointy end of the 2019 season, and the Kawasaki Superbike Championship has never been so competitive. Coming into this round, there was only 1 point in it. 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 and 3 different round winners. But there can only be 1 champion.
You don't win the championship unless you risk a lot to win races sometimes, and at this point of the championship, it's all about risk to reward, and unfortunately there's going to have to be quite a bit more risk at this time of the year. Honestly, it's been a hard year to pick, and I think Morgan Park will probably be the deciding factor on who's going to stretch on to win the championship. I'd have to say at the moment, I'm probably most worried about Mike Jones, to be honest.
Top few guys are very aggressive. Fortunately, I've managed to stay out of harm's way. I believe there's no one rider. We've got Bryan Staring, Cru Halliday and Troy Herfoss. They're my main competitors right now, and all eyes are on them. And I'm going to do my best that I can to beat them this weekend.
Anyone in the top 6, you know, is a contender and could win a race, and you know, you wouldn't be say, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. Definitely going to have to fight. Maybe it might take some misfortune from other people, but yeah, wherever there's racing happening, we're a contender.
I think we'll all be going as hard as we can. When it's like this, every race counts. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to give up. I'm a racer. I want to win, and that's what I'm going to be trying to do.
The conversations in the back of our truck are looking for tenths of seconds. Tenths, just save me a tenth here. Give me a tenth and give it to me consistently. You have to put everything into it every session, all the time, maximum risk. Look, we've got everything behind us now to win.
I'll be going hard from now on out, but at the same time, I've got to say to myself, I've got to stay on the bike. So, there will be aggression, but at the same time, there's got to be a calculated strategy to it as well. So it's going to be hard because you got Mike Jones. He's going to be really fast. This is his home track, and everyone's going to be elbows out. So if there's a fight, there's a fight. If there's barging, there's barging. But we got to get the job done, and we're all racing for the championship win.
Welcome back to Morgan Park Raceway. We are almost ready to go racing. Race number 2, the final race for Kawasaki Superbike. And this guy here, the man of the moment, he is the one that won the last race. He's the one sitting on pole position. Mad Mike Jones, can he get 2 for 2?
That's the goal. I certainly think that I can. We had a really, really good race there in the first one and was able to convincingly win the race. So I think there's no reason why we can't do it again. We just have to go and repeat it exactly the same way that I did in the first one.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much.
It is time to go on a lap around this beautiful circuit with our very own Steve Martin.
Thanks, Emma, and here it is, a lap of Morgan Park Circuit. It's tight, it's tricky, it's twisty. Hang on for the ride. Get in down behind the screen as we head flat out down the start-finish straight here. Hit the 100-metre marker as we head into turn 1. Use all of the track there through Kawasaki Complex. And then once again, knee on the ground. Quick shift into second gear as we head into the blind hander, Motul corner. Really tricky, this one. Just brush the wall on the inside. Use all of the track on the exit. Hard on the brakes as we head down the hill into AGV. The back really starts to move around here. You'd think that you'd have a little bit of a rest as you hit the apex through AGV, but no, it's bumpy, it's tough. Once again, flicking through on the left-hand side of the corner. You can feel the rear moving around, hard on the brakes into Yamaha. It's really important here to clip that apex if you can, and then get on the gas using all the track again. Quick squirt, stay in the same gear, up the hill and into the left-hander. Things start to open up from this point. Through the gearbox, second, third, fourth gear, trying to keep the wheel on the ground. Into KTM we go. Once again, 225 kilometres now. Change of direction into Pirelli on the side of the tyre, using all the track. The front's nice and light through here, but you've got to keep that mid-corner speed up. Once again, breathe onto brakes into this one as we head into Suzuki corner, and all the way out to the edge of the track, quite blind out of there. You can take a little breath here, but then it gets busy again. Flick to the right, flick to the left, up the hill. As you can see, it's blind over the start-finish line, and there you have it. This is a lap around Morgan Park Raceway. What a track it is.
Thank you to Steve Martin and Wayne Maxwell. A great battle between yourself and Cru last race. Play it safe for this one or go hard into every corner?
Look, I think we need to try to get a strong result again, absolutely. So, I wasn't quite strong enough at the end of the last race. So, hopefully I can get better track position at the start, conserve a little bit of energy and try to challenge Mike at the end.
Go get him.
Thank you.
Yeah, Wayne Maxwell will be certainly a danger in this race. He is a former victor here at Morgan Park. He knows what it takes to win races, Steve Martin. And as he said, by the time he got from that, 7th, 8th, 9th on the first lap into a second position, Mike Jones had already cleared out on the Desmo Sport Ducati.
You can't do that here. You need to get a good start. So he's going to have to work on that this time out. And if he can do that, I believe he can run with the Ducati rider, Mike Jones. So that's got to be his number one goal. Get off the line and stay out of trouble.
Back down to the grid with them.
Well, yeah, everyone was just talking about having the good start. You got a good start last time round. What's your strategy for this one?
Same again. Try our best to be at the front, and hopefully I've got the pace at the end of the race. We're just a little bit off there, but we've progressed as the weekend's gone on, and it's just really tough out there. So looking forward to this race, and hopefully I can be part of the battle at the front.
And Troy, I have to say, next time we see you, you'll be a married man. So all the best to yourself and Em on your upcoming wedding.
Thank you.
Yeah, Troy Herfoss, you cannot discount him here at Morgan Park. He is going to be strong, and we saw from the last race, Steve Martin, he does get a cracking start, and he will fight and with every bit of energy that he's got to try and get up there at the lead of the race.
Yeah, absolutely. He had the pace, the bike had the pace, the handling for the first half of the race just drifted off towards the end. It hasn't really been his weekend when you consider that last year he got pole and 2 race wins, but nevertheless.
Back down to M.
Josh, you looked a little bit disappointed after race number 1, even though you came through the field and went up to 5th. How are you feeling going into this one?
Yeah, hopefully we've made a few little changes for race 2, so my feelings definitely got better. It started the weekend off well, and then I took a little bit of a backward step yesterday, but try my hardest, and that's all I can do.
What changes exactly?
Just to the settings, just small ones, because my feelings did improve in race 1, so like I said, I'll just try my hardest.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
Another rider that's pretty much leaving here, Steve Martin, at the completion of this meeting and heading over to Japan in preparation for the one of the biggest races for the Japanese factories, the Suzuka 8-hour race. Troy Herfoss also heading over for that race as well. A very prestigious ride for him for Moriwaki Honda, and Josh Waters back with the Team Moto Map supply team for another tint at the Superstock Championship at Suzuka.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of testing going on over there, so both of those guys will be heading over to ride the iconic Suzuka circuit. I'm sure that's something that they will be definitely looking forward to.
This man's also looking forward to that race. I bet Bryan Staring, he was running and looking forward to getting on the podium, but unfortunately, turn 4, the AGV corner caught him out, and he lost the front end and tumbled out of the podium equation.
Yeah, disappointing because he certainly had the pace. He hasn't really shown much pace. Well, I didn't show much pace here last year on the Kawasaki, but I'll tell you what, he was up there this time and in with a chance of a podium. So that would have boded well if he managed to pull that off, but it wasn't to be. He hit the deck. I'm sure that he's going to make up for that this time round.
Great battle at the end of race number 1 between Aaron Morris, who finished in 6th, Al Phillips in 7th, and Matt Walters in 8th position as well. 3 very rapid privateer riders that have been doing a great job here this weekend.
Yeah, it was good to see the Maxima BMW closer to the front than we've seen it in a while. Of course, that team's had a lot of bad luck this year. Both of their regular riders are out injured. So good to see that Aaron Morris is bringing the package home for them. And, you know, I'm sure that as each race goes by, he'll gain confidence.
Unfortunately, Damon Rees, our Kiwi regular in the championship in 2019, failed to finish in race number 1. Hopefully he'll be able to bring bike number 92 home in a strong position, because he's a rider that always seems to go well here at Morgan Park. But starting out of pole position, as we saw in race number 1, Mad Mike Jones on board that Desmo Sport Ducati. Cru Halliday and Wayne Maxwell join him on the front row of the grid.
Second row, of course, Troy Herfoss. We know how good he can be around here. Bryan Staring, the leader of the championship, coming into this round, and Daniel Falzon out of 6th spot.
Yeah, looking to try and get his championship back on track. Josh Waters in 7th, Aaron Morris in 8th, and Matt Walters rounds out row 3 in 9th.
10th, of course, Mark Kyoto. He had an off last time out. Al Phillips, a good solid result for him. And Arthur Cece's, watch out for him off the start. Can be fast.
Certainly can. Damon Rees will start out of position number 13. Lachlan Epps out of 14. And Brian Horton, the former Australian Moto3 champion, out of 15th position.
Yeah, good to see Brian Horton in the field. I heard he's riding Corey Turner's old bike too, so good to see the local.
And I think Corey Turner's actually got Brian Horton's old Supersport 600 as well.
Well, there you go, the story within the story.
And also to a quick shout out to a couple of riders that couldn't make it here this weekend that are injured. Glenn Scott, hopefully he has a quick recovery from a crash on Friday. Also Glenn Allerton and Ted Collins not riding for Next Gen Motorsport BMW. Hopefully we will see them back from injury at the next round of the championship, which is on the first weekend, I believe, in September, coming up soon at Winton Motor Raceway. But we've got 16 laps to define who is going to be the master of Morgan Park. Will it be Mad Mike Jones starting from pole position? There is 16 laps to the start. Mad Mike Jones gets a great start from pole position and should lead them down in towards turn 1. Where is Wayne Maxwell off the line?
4th or 5th this time, so a better start for Wayne Maxwell, but it is Halliday that nipped into 2nd position, and we know how strong Halliday can do. It's Falzon up there too. Falzon in 2nd.
Great start for Wayne Maxwell. He is in 4th position, as you said. Troy Herfoss has got away well on bike number 1. He is in 3rd position. Halliday back to 5th place. Then it's Bryan Staring. Then I think it's Josh Waters, the next rider through, and he's under considerable pressure from Mark Kyoto. It looks like on board the 2nd of the Penrite Honda.
Jones with a problem there. Jones just locked up the front. He's going to try and get it back on track. He's got a lot of work to do if he's going to get on the podium this time.
That has made race 2 very, very interesting here at Morgan Park. The race is now being led by Daniel Falzon on board bike number 25 with Troy Herfoss. And do you reckon he's got a big smile underneath that Suomi helmet at the moment as he makes his way down towards the bottom of the circuit?
Herfoss goes through, takes the lead. And I'll tell you what, like you say, and Maxwell wastes no time. He's shot through too now with Herfoss just in front of him. Daniel Falzon sits in 3rd position. Cru Halliday. There's a few people in this group that can sniff victory. The number 21, Josh Waters, is there too, looking competitive.
What a start from Macchiato on board bike number 30, the second of the Penrite Hondas. He's sitting up there in 6th position at the completion of the first lap, 1 place ahead of Bryan Staring. Morris has also got away well on the Next Gen Motorsports BMW, bike number 64. He's in 8th with Al Phillips and Arthur Cece rounding out the top 10.
Well, Mike Jones is back in 14th position at the moment, way back. He's got a lot of work to do, so we'll keep an eye on it, but he can't do it. He can't catch up to this leading group now. He's just blowing too much. He just locked the front up there, got sideways a bit and ran off the track. A lot of work to do for Mike Jones.
First lap, maybe some cold tyre down there into that part of the circuit, Steve?
Maybe a little bit of, who knows, hopefully we'll get a replay of what happened and we might be able to analyse it, but we're only guessing until we see the replay.
So Maxwell leads through KTM on the run down the hill from the Penrite Honda of Troy Herfoss. These two have both won races here at Morgan Park, and they have been teammates in the past, but they also have had comings together both on and off track in relation to qualifying, following each other around, and also they make up very quickly. As Troy Herfoss's dad says, they're just like brothers.
Well, I don't think Herfoss has won since Wakefield Park, so Hoodie giving it absolutely everything he's got to take this one out, and he's looking pretty at the moment in 2nd position. But we know how fast Maxwell is on the Suzuki. He's also had a pretty rough year, had a couple of DNFs that haven't been his fault, been taken out, been lucky to not injure himself. But he's in front at the moment and probably feeling pretty good. The field is not stretching out.
No, it looks like a Moto3 field at the moment as they make their way through AGV corner. Wayne Maxwell, of course, won the first race of the season. He has not tasted victory since that first race at Phillip Island, and that seems like so long ago, Steve.
Looks like he's stretching out a little bit at the moment, and that's what he needs to do. I mean, if he can be in front at the moment, better off trying to do a couple of qualifying laps now, get that gap out to over a second. Hopefully just break the field up a little bit.
And it just goes to show you the importance of a good start. This time in race number 1, Wayne Maxwell was still back in 6th or 7th position, trying to make his way through the field. He's now at the front and trying to stretch a bit of a lead over Troy Herfoss, and Cru Halliday has moved up into 3rd place as well, getting the better of his teammate Daniel Falzon on board bike number 25. So keep your eye on Cru Halliday.
Yeah, well, Cru Halliday still looking for a win this year. He's doing very well in the championship, but you know what? He hasn't had that first win in this back in the factory team, so he'll be looking forward to try and make the most of this race now. He knows that he can beat Maxwell. He's got to get up there if he can. He's got 2 to 3 seconds to do it. The gap up. Let's have a look off the start now.
You can see Wayne Maxwell got a much better start as they made their way down in towards turn 1. As they came in there, Falzon got a good run as well up the inside of Troy Herfoss. But very importantly for Wayne Maxwell, he got away and he was sitting in 4th position as they made their way through turn 3 and came under the bridge for the first time. But this is where it all went wrong. You can see he lost the back end, Mike Jones, ran off the track, and that's what put him back as far as 13th position on the first lap of the race. Wayne Maxwell currently leads from Troy Herfoss and Cru Halliday, with Mad Mike Jones now 4.1 seconds behind our race leader.
4.1 seconds. I just want to tell you, he's just done nearly a new lap record, 1:12.7. He's 0.7 to 0.8 quicker than the leader at the moment. Keep an eye on Mike Jones. If he can join the back of this group, it's going to be incredible. But he is lapping nearly 0.8 of a second quicker than everybody else.
And he's also doing that in traffic. What can he do once he gets past those couple of riders and into some clear air? He's now actually got Al Phillips that he's got to try and deal with. And we know Al Phillips can be very hard to overtake. As we look back there, he's actually got past Al Phillips, and he's now trying to get past Mark Kyoto on board bike number 30, who was extremely fast off the start.
Well, we can count on Mike. We know that he never gives up. The 2015 Australian Superbike champion, Mike Jones, on the Ducati, has got a big fight ahead of him today.
So Wayne Maxwell leads, Herfoss in 2nd, Cru Halliday still in 3rd place. And back in fourth, it is Falzon. Oh, no, that's Aaron Morris. Looks like another wrecked Next Gen Motorsports BMW.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. Yeah, definitely doesn't look good. The rear tyre off the rim in that one. So, yeah, bad news for Aaron Morris and the Maxima BMW team.
And he wasn't going very far because there was no petrol tank attached to that motorcycle.
No, unfortunate news for him. But there is Staring, the championship leader, coming into this round. He can sniff victory. It's not far in front of him, but I don't know that there's much that he can do about it at the moment.
So I remember in the first half of the last race too, he just sort of held his position, didn't do anything untoward, and it was the second half of the race where the BC Performance Kawasaki really started to pick up some pace. Speaking of picking up pace, what about this guy? Mad Mike Jones, he's still lapping. His last lap was only 6/100ths of a second off the fastest lap of the race. He's lapping faster than everybody else on track. In fact, on that last lap, he was 0.4, 0.5 of a second faster than anyone on track, and he's starting to close in on this leading group. We're still only early in the race. We're only at about 1/3 race distance.
Well, I guess if you look at race 1, Mike Jones was in the 13s, 13.2s and won the race. He was doing that easy. Now we're seeing his hand. Now he's playing out the lap times he can really do. He's a 12 man. Nobody else is in this race.
So Herfoss, how tight was he to the apex of that corner? You could see the dust come up as he put his knee almost down in the grass as he tries to get onto the back of Wayne Maxwell. I think they're all going to be getting lap boards now telling them that Mad Mike Jones is on a charge from the back of the field at lap record pace, and you can see that Maxwell and Herfoss have both got their heads down and they've started to pull away from Cru Halliday in third.
Yeah, Herfoss is looking pretty good there at the moment. He was drifting off earlier on, but I seem to think that he's found some sort of second win. I think he's got that confidence now. He looks like he can hang in on the back of the Suzuki rider.
Well, and also, too, you know how hard that Penrite Honda team work. They never rest in the pursuit of trying to make that bike faster and better every time they go to the track. And this is the last race of the weekend. They've been getting better and better all weekend. There's Mike Jones. He's closing in on the back now of Bryan Staring. But Herfoss looks to have found something, certainly, in between races 1 and 2.
Well, Jones with another 12.7. 7.77 this time. That's 3 12.7s in a row. That's pretty incredible. And that's a second a lap quicker than our leader, Wayne Maxwell.
And the gap is now down to between our race leader, Wayne Maxwell, and Mad Mike Jones in 7th position now. It is a flat 3 seconds.
Well, this could be the ride of Mike Jones's life if he can pull this off.
And for the first time this weekend, you can actually see the Desmo Sport Ducati being put under a fair bit of pressure. Jones is asking questions of the setup of that bike, and he's starting to move around everywhere. He is pushing on at close to lap record pace.
Bang on lap record pace, 12.7 every lap. You can just see there, full tank holding out Wayne Maxwell's lap board, 0.0. You've got nothing, you've got no gap. That's what that means, and it means that Troy Herfoss is right on the rear. He cannot back off, he's got to give it everything he can. Jones now, right on the back of Staring.
Yeah, Jones's fastest lap is less than 1/10 of a second off the existing lap record from Troy Herfoss, set last year, a 1:12.645. Jones has now got to try and deal with the very late braking Bryan Staring, but then there's traffic in front. We've got Josh Waters, Daniel Falzon and Cru Halliday for him to try and find a way past.
It's easy to catch this group up, but to pass on this circuit, these calibre of guys is another story. So Mike might find things a little bit harder this time.
Every rider in that group that Mike Jones has to pass has won an Australian championship.
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible statistic, isn't it? Including Mike Jones, of course.
Including Mike Jones, 2015 Australian Superbike champion. Josh Waters, of course, got 3 championships to his name. Daniel Falzon's got 3 600 championships to his name. Bryan Staring, a 125 600 and Superbike champion as well.
Well, you can just see now Mike's not going to be able to do it on the straight. Bryan Staring got a brilliant drive out of that final corner there. So if Jones is going to do it, it's going to be in the corners. And that is going to make it really hard. I know that he's strong down into the AGV corner. They head through Motul, but into AGV, he's strong up the inside. Watch this as he tries to have a look.
Not quite close enough to the back of Staring to try and get past. Staring was deep in there on the brakes.
Yeah, he was. He closes right up. No ill effect from the off that he had on that corner earlier on today.
So this is getting very interesting now as we are at half race distance, 8 laps down of the 16-lap journey here at Morgan Park. The halfway mark of the championship. Down to M for a quick update.
Just here with Freebie and wow, Mike Jones. He's come from 14th all the way up to 7th. You've got the right guy on that Ducati, that's for sure.
Like I said in the first race, he's just really, really comfortable on the bike. And, yeah, he's just probably a bit angry at the moment with himself. But,
Mad Mike Jones.
yeah, he's not normally mad. But anyway, it's all good. He's doing his best, and it's just a shame that he made that little mistake earlier on.
Thanks, Freebie.
Yeah, Paul Free is a man with a lot of experience, and great to see him with Jones as he goes up the inside of Daniel Falzon down into Kawasaki corner, turn 1, moves up 1 position. So Falzon has dropped now back to the back of this group in position number 7. So Josh Waters now looking to try and find a way past Cru Halliday as well, who was fallen off the back of the lead group and into the clutches of the 3 times Australian Superbike champion, the Mildura missile, Josh Waters.
Yeah, let's just have a look there. You can just see he pulls out of the slipstream there and gets past up the inside. Daniel Falzon goes to tip in, realises that Mike Jones has taken the inside line, and Mike Jones makes as clean as pass as you'll ever see.
And you can see how late and deep Falzon was on the brakes. Now, I'm just wondering now if the arm pump is starting to affect Daniel Falzon's performance on the brakes around this very demanding circuit.
Well, that is one of the issues that Daniel Falzon is facing this weekend, and yeah, it looks like that. He said he could only hang on for about 4 or 5 laps. And of course, these bikes, they're pretty light for Superbikes, but around this tight 2.9 kilometre track, boy, you don't get any rest. You're always on the throttle, off the throttle, or on the brake.
How was the attitude of both Wayne Maxwell, Suzuki GSX-R 1000R, and also Troy Herfoss's machine as Jones goes up the inside of Josh Waters into Kawasaki corner? Well, I think Bryan Staring's actually gone past Josh Waters as well on that run out of turns 11 and 12 as well on that lap, and he's now sitting behind Cru Halliday as they come down towards AGV corner turn 4, a favourite overtaking opportunity, but on this occasion they're all line astern. Down to M for a quick update from the pits.
Hey, Dale Breed, Wayne Maxwell hasn't had a win since the very first round. I know it would mean a lot to him and to the team if you get this one.
Yeah, 6 laps to go and just crossing our fingers at the moment, but obviously Troy's putting a fair bit of pressure on him, but Wayne's done this plenty of times before, so I think he's up to the task. Bike's good, and hopefully we don't jinx each other this time around.
I know. I apologise for that last time. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Good on you.
Well, you could see there, while we were speaking to Dale Breed, the attitude of both Wayne Maxwell, Suzuki, and Troy Herfoss's machine. It would appear, Steve Martin, the grip has started to slowly go away. These guys don't care. They are still pushing on as hard as they can. And Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss, last lap around, were separated by hundredths of a second in their lap times.
Yeah, not too much in that, but look at Mad Mike as they try to dive up this inside of Cru Halliday, but it wasn't to be this time. They're both of those riders who are just going to have to sit in there. But it looks like the number 46 is going for the ride with Bryan Staring. Staring is making his way forward through this pack, and he's eyeing off a podium. So everybody now is looking at the back of Cru Halliday.
Well, it looks like Josh Waters has got a second wind as well, and he's picked up the pace and going with this group in front. And Falzon has not dropped off as well. He's got a second lease of life now as we come round halfway through this 11th lap of the 16-lap journey. This is a very interesting battle because these guys are making it very difficult for each other to overtake because they are all pushing on now extremely hard. There is nothing being left in the tank. It is 100% for all of these riders, 10/10 all the way to the flag now.
Probably the hottest conditions we've had all weekend as well means that the tyres and the way they work are going to change. They could either grip more or wear more depending on the setup of the bike. So there's a lot to play for out there, and we saw the 2 leaders out front, but boy, there was a lot of movement in their bikes.
Well, you could see that Bryan Staring was trying to get past Cru Halliday as they came down into Kawasaki corner, turn 1 on the last lap. He pulls to the inside, has another look. He hasn't got down the inside because Cru Halliday is in there sideways and very deep on the brakes and has to try and get the bike stopped and turned to make sure that he makes it through turn 2. No way for anyone to get past. In fact, Mike Jones is finding it incredibly hard to get both past Bryan Staring and also Cru Halliday.
Yeah, well, Cru Halliday, he's one of the strongest riders in the field on the brakes, especially into that turn 1. It looks like there's a lot of different lines, but that Kawasaki complex down there is quite difficult to get right. There's one line through there if you're hitting it at the speed that these guys are.
You can see also too, Bryan Staring has started to looking to be entering the corners a fraction wider, squaring the corner off and trying to get on the gas harder. Oh, for Cru Halliday. A massive out of the seat moment there as he comes out of turn 7.
Bryan Staring will be liking the look of that. Wayne Maxwell, meanwhile, up front, and it's Cru Halliday who still holds position, but Staring now has got a bit of a run here. He should try and dive up the inside. He can't do it.
Halliday once again late on the brakes, and Herfoss is essentially all over the back wheel of Wayne Maxwell Suzuki as they come out of MA corner and across to complete 13 laps. There's only 3 laps to go, less than 10 kilometres, and you can see Herfoss is now trying to get down the inside. Here comes Jones. He's going to go past both of them, is he?
Is he going to make it? Is he going to make it? He's run off the track again. He holds it.
They've all run wide. Cru Halliday has gone from
Who's
fifth
on
place
the
back to
inside?
third.
Cru Halliday says, what are you guys doing? I tell you what, they're trying as hard as they can, and they nearly got him. They did have him. They just braked too late.
As we said, 100%, 10 tenths all the way to the flag, including these two guys at the front. That's Mark Kyoto.
Oh, Kyoto's run off. That looks like turn 4 AGV down the bottom of the hill. But meanwhile, back out front, Wayne Maxwell is just doing everything he can. He's within a half a second of his fastest lap of the race. Let's have a look. They've both passed. They shouldn't have run wide at that point. Jones decides to take 2. He's gone in way too deep. Look at the angle there. Over the bumps in the inside, just about saves it. 2 inches away from crashing there. Brings it back onto the track. Runs wide. Staring's a bit wide too because he followed him in. And Cru Halliday says, well, I'm just going to take that spot back.
But that's the first time this weekend I've actually seen Jones's back wheel right off the ground as he was going in towards Kawasaki turn 1 there. He was so late on the brakes trying to get up the inside of them. Jones up the inside of Halliday into YMI corner to take up the running in 3rd position. He can't mow down the leaders from here, surely, but can he hold on to a podium? Look at the speed of Staring's Kawasaki as they come down towards turn 1 as well.
Yeah, Staring's got plenty of drive. I don't think that the number 46 will make that mistake again, and he hasn't. A little bit of movement in the back of Mike Jones's bike now, so Staring now just sitting in that 4th position. He won't want to finish 4th, will he?
No, and also too, Josh Waters is going with them as well. He looks like he's got every bit of pace that the 3 riders in front have as well. As in this battle for 3rd place on the podium, but it looks like it's a battle between Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss for the race win. Who is going to try and outsmart each other? These are 2 of the craftiest racers in this field, and they've done this plenty of times before, often against each other.
Absolutely, they know each other's riding styles inside out, and I tell you what, you know that the man with the number 1 plate on his bike, he's got to have a crack, doesn't he? Maxwell knows it. Where's it going to happen? That is the question. Probably this part of the circuit here. This seems to be where the number 1 seems to be a little bit stronger.
Well, penultimate time through the YMI corner. There is 2.9 kilometres to go for Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss to decide who is going to win the final race of the weekend here for the Kawasaki Superbike class at round 4 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. They are safely through turn 1, and I think turn 4 is going to be the first place that Troy Herfoss thinks about having a look as Mike Jones tries to hold off a rampaging Bryan Staring. They've pulled out a little bit of a gap between.
There he goes up the inside. He's gone through. Can he hold it? He's run wide, but he's got the cut back. He's got to attack again into the next corner. It's Troy Herfoss having an attack.
Well, and we know that Wayne Maxwell knew that it was coming, and he just positioned himself perfectly. Look how close they are now. Turn 7. Will Herfoss have another go? Staring still can't find a way past, and Cru Halliday is also in the mix with that final place on the podium battle as well.
It's going to be difficult for the number 1 now. Troy Herfoss giving it everything he can, but Wayne Maxwell's rode a brilliant race so far. Last lap was 0.2 slower than his quickest lap, so these boys are flying.
Herfoss is going to have a lunge into Suzuki corner. He's setting it up now. Can he get past? No. Maxwell's just too fast into there as they start to drive up the hill.
He's got one opportunity now. Can he dive up the inside? But Maxwell's too fast. He's on the edge. Up the hill he goes. He's tucked in behind the screen. He's got good drive. This is Maxwell's win. The first win since round 1 for him. Brilliant stuff. Troy Herfoss takes a podium, and it is Mike Jones. Where did that come from? What a ride.
Mike Jones takes 3rd ahead of Bryan Staring in 4th. Wayne Maxwell's first win at Morgan Park for 2 years as well, because last year it was a Troy Herfoss benefit, pole position and 2 race wins. But this year they were shared about, and Wayne Maxwell has emerged victorious in the final race for Kawasaki Superbike at round 4. We'll go to a break, come back with our top 3, but what a race. Welcome back to Morgan Park. We have just seen an extremely exciting Kawasaki Superbike race. The first race victory since the first race of 2019 for Wayne Maxwell, and Troy Herfoss back on the podium as well in a great duel to the finish. Third place by Mad Mike Jones, one of the rides of the race, because he finished 3.5 seconds behind, but he was back to 14th position after running off track on the first lap of the race. Bryan Staring finished in 4th, Cru Halliday in 5th, Josh Waters in 6th, Falzon after CC's, Matt Walters and Al Phillips round out the top 10. But no one is more happy than Wayne Maxwell at the moment at Morgan Park. Lachlan Epps finished in 11th place, Damon Rees in 12th, Mark Kyoto crashed, but ran off the track, but came back on. Brian Horton finished in 14th position, and Aaron Morris unfortunately crashed the Next Gen Motorsport BMW S1000 RR. Well, just about ready to hear from our top 3. Let's go down to Park for May. Emma was with our very happy podium finishes.
Yeah, this guy's got to be happy, that is for sure. Look at that smile, Mike Jones. Wow, where did that come from? 14th all the way up to 3rd position. One of the races of your life, I bet.
Yeah, look, I'm just really disappointed to make that mistake so early on in the race, and it was such a small mistake, but it cost me dearly. So, I just gave it 110% and rode my way back up to 3rd position, and I'm obviously very happy with that. But it's a little bit disappointing because I know what could have been if I didn't make that small mistake at the beginning. And anyway, it is what it is. Overall, a really good weekend for us, and good championship points.
See you at Winton.
Cheers, thank you.
In 2nd position, Troy Herfoss, of course, getting to witness one of the great rivalries in ASBK between yourself and Wayne Maxwell. Welcome back to the podium.
Yeah, for last year I was kind of hoping that rivalry was over, but it just felt like my first year back with Honda in 2014, just chasing him so hard. It was by far the hardest 19.5 minutes I've had in a long time. Wayne just rode so good. He made one mistake the whole race, and I wasn't able to capitalise. And then the last lap, I just tried. He had way more mid-corner speed than me in the hairpins, and I knew if I even left a millimetre of room, my front brake wheel was going to be right at his knee. So I was like, I don't want to do this, but I knew the boys would be into me if I didn't have a go. So yeah, I'm happy with 2nd. We can't let Wayne close too many points, but at this stage, I've got to be so happy with this result because we'd done a ride day here the other week and I was very slow. And then on Friday to now, I've made big progression, so I'm looking forward to moving on to Winton.
Awesome battle, well done.
Thanks.
And the guy in 1st position, that was one of the greatest races we have witnessed for the 2019 season, and you haven't had a win since the very first race of this season, so welcome back. What a feeling.
Oh, amazing. What can I say? Team Suzuki X-Star, hats off to them. Ever since the start, they've made me feel welcome, and, they've not questioned, when I wanted something with the bike or what I wanted, they've just tried to give me what I want. So, we can win as a team, and that's the important thing. It's a team effort, and I'm super happy. I can't thank them enough. My guys, Woz and Sid, everyone in the team, Phil, Brody, Josh, Dale, Dale's, he's been making sandwiches this weekend, they've been bloody good actually, so hats off to Dale, like everyone. It's just very much a team effort, and I'm happy to be a part of the Suzuki family. I can't really say much then. My old mate Troy, I was like, he's not going to let this up. I did a few quick laps there in the middle, +0, I was like, nah, he's not going to let it up. So I stopped looking at my board and started looking at his, and then just tried to control the race from there. Once I sort of, got a few laps to go, I was like, just don't make any mistakes. And lucky enough, I sort of broke a little bit early, so I tried to flow into turn 4. Troy came sailing down the inside. I was like, don't get it stopped, and he couldn't get it stopped. Fortunately, I darted back up the inside and just held on to just to the end, just to beat him over the line. So great reward for the team, and looking forward to the next 3 races there. 3 of my favourite tracks on the calendar, and hopefully it's the start of something special in the second half of the year.
Thanks, Wayne. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a round of applause. Your race winner from Team Suzuki X-Star, Wayne Maxwell.
Yeah, congratulations to Wayne Maxwell, and also Troy Herfoss and Mad Mike Jones. You can see, though, there the elation on Wayne Maxwell's face. Let's have a look at the highlights of an extremely exciting Kawasaki Superbike race number 2. Off the line, it was Mike Jones that got a great start and had a good lead as they made their way through turn 1 for the first time. Also getting off to a great start was Mark Kyoto on board bike number 30, the second of the Penrite Hondas. But most importantly, Wayne Maxwell got a good start unlike race number 1 where he was battling his way back from 7th or 8th position. But at this corner, it was turn 6 on lap number 1. Mike Jones had a moment running into the corner, ran off the track and was all the way back to the rear of the grid in 14th position and trying to fight his way back. Herfoss and Maxwell had started to eke out a small lead at the front, changing positions as they went. And at this stage of the race, Daniel Falzon was also extremely strongly placed on board bike number 25, the Yamaha Racing Team YZF R1M. His teammate Cru Halliday not too far behind, and it was a very tight battle at the front. As the laps went on, it was increasingly obvious that Maxwell and Herfoss just had a fraction more pace than the pursuing pack as Mike Jones started to catch up, overtake riders and move his way back through the field. It wasn't that long until he got onto the battle for 3rd place on the podium. He made short work of Daniel Falzon at Kawasaki corner turn 1 and then set his sights on trying to get past the BC Performance Kawasaki ZX10RR of Bryan Staring, who was the championship leader coming into this round. Then Mad Mike Jones found his way past 3-time Australian champion Josh Waters on board the Team X-Star Australia Suzuki. Staring had also found his way past and closed up onto the back of Cru Halliday. Halliday had that massive moment coming out of turn 7, and it wasn't long after that both Bryan Staring and Mike Jones had managed to find their way past on the run down in towards turn 1. Staring got it a little bit wide on the entry and Jones just snuck up the inside. He ran wide, Staring went with him, and Cru Halliday found himself back in 3rd place with Josh Waters also well and truly back in the fight. Marchiato ran off track on board the Penrite Honda and went backwards in the field as Jones made his way forward in the battle for 3rd position, coming across the line, just getting the better of Cru Halliday and Bryan Staring in the final laps of the race. Josh Waters was still well and truly in the mix as well as Wayne Maxwell and Troy Herfoss waged war over the final laps. We knew Herfoss was going to have a go. It came at turn 4. He ran a fraction wide. Maxwell got back into the lead and was never headed from that point on, despite the continual pressure from the reigning champion Troy Herfoss on the Penrite Honda. Maxwell took the victory, his first since the first race of the 2019 season. You can see he was happy with that. Troy Herfoss, who struggled at the beginning of the weekend, was back on the podium, and Mad Mike Jones went from 14th position to 3rd on the podium and will take 2nd place for the round. But Wayne Maxwell wins the race, wins the round, and puts himself back in championship contention. So, championship points. Mad Mike Jones lead the championship by 1 point over Cru Halliday. Bryan Staring is in 3rd place, only, 8 points behind the championship lead. Troy Herfoss is now up to 4th, Wayne Maxwell up to 5th, and those top 5, in fact the top 6, are well and truly in championship contention. Matt Walters in 7th, Daniel Falzon in 8th, Phyllis in 9th, Glenn Scott rounds out the top 10, down to Emma.
Thank you very much, Phil Harlem, for the weekend as the champagne starts to spray down here in Park Fermé after Steve Martin. Another fantastic race.
Yeah, I mean, what a race that was. I mean, we all saw Mike Jones at the start. We thought he was going to run away with it, but it wasn't to be. He ran off, and at that point, I thought, oh, it's impossible. He can't come back from there. But he did. What a sensational run through the pack he had. He was doing almost lap record after lap record time. At some points, he was a second a lap quicker than everybody else. And that is why he now leads the championship by 1 point, Emma.
I cannot believe that there is only 1 point again in this championship. I mean, it is such a competitive field.
And it's always Cru Halliday who sits there in 2nd. Another sterling job for him. He had a tough weekend, but he got the job done. He stayed upright where many others couldn't. And that is why he sits where he does. He's still a big contender for the overall win.
Well, we've had a massive day of racing, of course, with lots of categories, including, well, Motorsports TB, Supersport, Tom Taparis. He was unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, once again, Tom Taparis in the, I guess, the couple of 6 weeks that we've had off since Tail and Bend, most of the guys, as we said, they've been at home or, you know, doing the odd test day, but he's been in Germany doing that IDM. He's been on the bike every weekend, and it's really helped him, you know, like he's been able to be race fit, and that showed today, in that race today. It was a sensational ride. He was consistent all the way across the board and managed to get that win where others fell to the wayside.
Well, thank you, Steve. I've had a fantastic weekend here at Morgan Park, and the next round is Winton, the 6th to the 8th of September. We really hope to see you there. That's going to be a fun one. Now, recently, We lost a dear friend and a member of the ASBK officials family, Graham Checkers Stewart. Our thoughts are with his family, and we'd like to dedicate this show to him. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here this weekend, and a very big thank you to everyone at home, and of course to all of our team. And just quickly, I wanted to get your thoughts on Graham Checkers Stewart, Steve.
Well, he's been in and around the paddock my whole life, basically, so, you know, it's a very sad thing, but the fact that we're able to honour him means a lot to everybody here.
Looking forward to that next round. We're not too far away, as I said, the 6th to the 8th of September, Winton, Victoria. In the meantime, of course, make sure you stay up to date, asbk.com.au, and of course for all the MA events, it's ma.org.au. I'm Emma Francesco. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.